Welcome back to the Reprioritizing Self channel, where we discuss tips, strategies, and the real ish that comes with reprioritizing ourselves in this society. This channel is for any and everyone who does a wonderful, miraculous job taking care of everyone around them, everybody around them, but ends up putting themselves lower on the list. So you have found your people if you do that, okay? I am Larisha. I'm a counselor, wellness facilitator, and founder of Wellness Brand with Love LC.
And I am Kiara. I'm a healer and trauma healing coach, and we are your amazing, wonderful, beautimous co-hosts. So y'all, stick around to the end because you already know we have your crystals, we have your journal reflection questions and affirmations that are here to support you on your healing journey. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification button so you never miss a video. We have good content coming at you. Bam, 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 bam. And we want you to catch it, okay? But also, if you're loving this video, smash that like button for us. Appreciate y'all.
Yes. So, as you know, how we get started on our episodes, we started with a check-in question. So, Kiara, let the people know what daily practices or practice is holding you up.
Yeah, because we talked about our intention settings last time. And I was talking about, being the authority of my life and embodying my power. I think the practice that has been really supporting me daily is tapping into there's a few that are coming up and I'm like, what's the good one that I like? Not a good one, but what's the one I really feel like is helpful to share with folks too? I think for me, it is every morning I've been really making sure before I look at my phone, before I do anything with outside of me, that I just thank my ancestors and just give gratitude for another day of possibilities of more good than I can imagine. And so for me, that's been really helpful to just get the day started and to hold me up. I think that gratitude practice reminds me that I have things to be grateful for, even when it feels like things are not going all my way. There are still some really beautiful things that are happening in my life, and I want to give gratitude for that. And also to my ancestors for getting me here and for the prayers they had that allow me to be in this existence and having this experience of life that is much different than many of them. So that's my practice. How about you, Larisha? What's your daily practice that's holding you down, up, keeping you tight? Yes.
I love that intention, the gratitude practice. For me, I'm also echo that morning ritual piece. There are things that I need for my day to flow, and so I'm locked into that. So my morning routine consists of my working out, and then my weekdays, Monday to Friday. And I like to take, now that I get up earlier, I have a little bit of space to either take a mini nap or meditate, which I like because I am getting up real early, but it gives me a little more ease in my morning. So I make my smoothie and my tea. I have to have my tea. And I set the intention for my day. So it's my morning ritual, having the things that make my day flow, taking the time to put them in, taking the time to get them done so that the rest of my day will be more easeful. So yeah, that morning ritual.
So important. I was waiting. I was like, I wonder if you're going to talk about naps.
Oh yes,
y'all know Larisha is the queen of naps.
Yeah. So now I be sneaking in my nap in the morning, which is wild, but I do.
I mean, after the workout, I can imagine that's so. Just let me just get a little more.
It's a good solid 20 to 30, 35 minutes, depending on what time I get in. So it creates a lot more ease, which is nice because I was at first go. My transitions were really tight in between everything. So the benefits of doing 5 a.m. workouts
Right.
is that it creates some ease, and
You're not rushing to the next thing.
it makes me more intentional about what time I go to sleep at night too.
I
Hmm.
hear that. I hear that. I love
Exactly.
it. Well, y'all, we're in our earth element, right? So having these morning rituals, these practices, this foundation, the foundational start to our day is like spot on for the earth element, as y'all know from what the previous conversations we've been having. So the last episode, we started talking about the element of earth, and what that it really invites us in to be setting intentions and clear intentions for what we want for ourselves. And today we're going to keep that party going and dive a little bit deeper into how we can ground ourselves and practice daily rituals, or, at whatever pace you want to, um, the rituals that we can use to help us align to those intentions. Earth reminds us about our foundational practices. It reminds us of the importance of having foundational practices to keep us going and to build off of, right? Like, you have your breakfast, and then what? Where are you going from there? Um, and these things, they can be really constant and consistent in our lives, which can be really helpful. It can be good to know that this is how it's going to happen. And sometimes, in those times where we're feeling like we don't know, what the next thing is that might hit us, that we might have to contend with, a challenge that we might have to overcome. But having those consistent practices can be really helpful of like, yes, this is something I know will happen again tomorrow, right? So let's get into this. I wanna jump into the juicy of grounding. So, Larisha, what is grounding to you, and what are some practices that you do to help you ground?
I love this question for a couple of reasons. One being that I would say maybe like 2, 3, 4 years ago, I didn't even have grounding in my vocabulary. Like, I didn't. It wasn't a thing like in my consciousness. I was on go 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 mode, and so when I think of grounding, I think of back when it first came into my consciousness of like, oh, like I don't need to be in my head all the time. I can be in other places in my body. I can be connecting with the earth. And this is how it shows up for me in my body when I do connect with the earth and lean into other spaces below my neck. Um, so when I think of grounding, I think about pausing, I think about connecting, I think about my body. Um, and so when I think about practices that I do or can do, my first like super aware time of grounding was when I started to dance. When I started to dance, for enjoyment and for fun and connect with my body in slower ways, um, that was the first. That's what I think about when I think about grounding. And then I also think about being outside and really connecting with the elements. So the sun, and y'all know if y'all seen the last season when we talked about pleasure, how the sun is very healing and how it feels on my skin. It's amazing. So when I think about grounding, I think about the daily practices that happen naturally. So like walking outside, feeling the sun, and then I also think about the practices that bring me joy and that allow me to disconnect, not even disconnect, I guess connect to myself and my body. And that is enjoy and dance and movement and leaning away from maybe the technology as much.
Yeah, no, I think it's so real because everything does like ask us to be in our head and like producing, and also like thinking things through versus like actually feeling things in our bodies. So I love what you were saying about actually giving yourself a moment to tap into what's happening below the neck, and yeah, I resonate with the dance as a practice for grounding and healing and just coming back into ourselves. It's so powerful. So love that.
Yes, I love that. And then that brings us to our next question, which is, what does a ritual mean to you?
Yeah, ritual. I feel like ritual for me means repetition. It means that I'm doing things over and over at, whatever pace or cadence. It could be yearly. Like yearly, I have a vision board. I think I've talked about this before. I have a vision board vision boarding time that I usually do right before the new Gregorian New Year. So usually around December, setting intentions and visioning for what I want for the next year, but also ritual that I have, daily. A ritual of, like I said, having a morning practice where I give gratitude before I look at my phone, before I do any work. Typically, I like really slower mornings for myself in general before I get into my work. It just helps me to really be able to be present in my work once I get there. So, making sure that I have a plan for what I'm eating. And sometimes I don't like eating that early. So, but at least knowing and having food prepared for when I'm ready to eat is really important to me. And so, that ritual of just like preparing myself for the day. Weekly ritual every Sunday with my partner. We have like family day, and then that family day, we're doing our budgeting and we're talking about our vision for our family and what we have on our to-dos of things that we need to get done. So those, like, I feel like ritual can be many different things, but in the simplest of terms, I think it's a consistent practice that we do that supports us in whatever that intention that we've set. So sometimes we have spiritual rituals, right? We hear this oftentimes in spiritual communities where, folks gather. If you think about church and synagogue and going to temple and all that, right? There's usually certain days that you go or certain times that you go, and that's a ritual of going to those, right? So that's what ritual means to me. And um, yeah, I feel like it could be, you can kind of create it to serve you in the way that you want it to, right? If you need a regular daily practice, that might be your ritual. If you are setting an intention for something that's a little longer, we might be checking in on that monthly or every quarter or something like that. So, yeah, that's mine. How about you? You got any other things that you think about with ritual?
I appreciate that you said that, like, the timeliness of it is really, it can depend. Like, there are things you do daily, hourly, weekly, quarterly. I like that you acknowledge that a ritual can look any way we need it to look, and that also there's some form of consistency or regularity that we can also lean into. So that's
Yeah. Yeah. How about developing our own rituals? I know that we have done this a little bit for ourselves, but if you're talking to somebody who's never created a ritual or intentionally created a ritual, because you all like, we're just doing this already pretty much
Mhm.
naturally, what are your tips for developing your own ritual?
For developing your own ritual. I think what can be helpful is writing, or having something in a visual in your visual field. I know for me, I enjoy journaling, and journaling helps with that initial, like, if there's rituals, like, for example, as you mentioned, having a vision board every year. Something that I did this year was write down, like, what I'm releasing and what I'm calling in, and putting it in a space, what I'm calling in a space that I can see it. And that really set the foundation for, okay, if these are the things that I'm calling in, what are the rituals that are going to support this, the practices that are going to support this. So I think having multiple ways to connect and remind ourselves of our rituals can be really important. Um, yeah, and then, of course, always also that piece around what are you enjoying and what are you doing, what is making your morning a little more easeful. You mentioned like eating in the morning is not your favorite thing. At the same time, these are the things that I need to do to make sure the rest of my day goes smoothly. So I think also holding that space for that consistency, that discipline, and even the discomfort that might come with ultimately doing rituals that feel supportive of your well-being.
Yes, yes. And you have, you talked about your journals, but you have some beautifully created and curated journals that you offer as well. So you want to talk a little bit about that or how you use that for your practice?
Yes, definitely. So I do with Love LC. We have 3 journals, and each journal has a different intention. We have a self love journal, which helps you connect and tap in with your self love practices, which is always evolving. And so that's a space for you to continue to tap in there. I also have a crystal journal in which you can tap in with your crystals and set intentions there and explore and expand in that. And also a dream journal where you can tap in with your dreams in your waking, in your sleeping world, your waking world, your daydreaming, and really having a space to lean into that. So, as I mentioned before, journaling is a really powerful tool. Writing is a powerful tool. So, with Love LC has some offerings for you to explore.
Yes, 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 yes. I love those journals. I have all of the journals, y'all. I'm not playing. They're just so amazing. I just could like feel those journals every day just as a part of my ritual of just like texture and like a
Mm-hmm.
good thing to be feeling when you're in hard conversations or, just processing big things. So
Yeah.
yeah, check out
And
them journals, y'all.
do
Yeah.
you have any tips?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a little bit about this last time, but I do have a course that I put together, the Protecting Our Peace course. So those really for those who are caregivers in their lives, having some strategies to support you and focus on you, reprioritize you as you're doing that. But I also facilitate a workshop for organizations, universities. Um, Corporations about building our own work rituals, and that's called Shining Our Armor. So if you're interested in that, head over to my website, healingwithkiara.com. Reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about bringing that workshop to your group, your team, whoever that is. But yeah, we got some stuff for y'all.
Yes, y'all lean into them offerings. Kiera is amazing. Her offerings, the space that she provides and holds, you're gonna feel loved, warm, and held.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. That's what we do when we
Yes.
taking care of each other. Community care. Yeah.
Yes, y'all. So we're gonna transition into our crystals for support. And so today we talked a lot about grounding and our rituals. So our ritual, or sorry, our crystal,
A
my
ritual
words are
crystal.
all over the
Yeah.
place, y'all. So our crystal for today is hematite. Okay, so
Yes.
hematite is one of my favorite grounding stones. Hematite is known to have a strong connection to the earth, which is in alignment with our element. It's a great protection stone, provides stability, and also stimulates concentration and focus. I love hematite. I love how it feels. I like the metallic looks of it. This is one of my favorite stones to have when I am navigating challenging conversations. It's a night. I like to fidget with this stone. So sometimes if I'm supporting um a client or student, I like to have hematite too. So during the practice, like we grounding together. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you already know. Same for me. Honestly, it is my one of my go-to fidgets. But also, I find that when I am in those hard conversations, or folks are sharing with me difficult experiences that they've had in their life, this can be super grounding for them in that moment to
Mm-hmm.
hold, to kind of like, again, y'all can hear this like magnetizing, right? That clicking. So you have a sensory experience with it that's really special. And so it's not a surprise to me that they call it the grounding stone because it's so potent in doing that. So yeah, y'all check out hematite. You already know, head over to Queendom Cultivation, our go-to crystal shop, Black-owned, women-owned space, and you can get your crystals there. We have our discount code for you to get 10% off. Reprioritizing underscore self. Okay, reprioritizing underscore self, and you'll see that in the description as well. If you want to go get you some of this, you will not regret it. Honestly, I think this is one that you can have just on hand, and it serves a lot of purposes. But for sure, this grounding, super strong. So hematite. All right, so I'm going to get us into our affirmation for this episode. So our affirmation for today is, I am grounded in the practices that support my well-being. I am grounded in the practices that support my well-being. And one more time for the people in the back. I am grounded in the practices that support my well-being. Ashe.
Ashe, yes. I'm going to get us into our reflection question. What practices feels grounding to me, and what do I want to continue? What practices feels grounding to me, and what do I want to continue? One more time. What practices feels grounding to me, and what do I want to continue? So y'all lean into those questions, journal, speak it out loud, see what comes up for you. And we will
Share in
see
the
you.
comments. Tell us
Yes, share in the
what you're
comments.
doing. What's
Let
your
us
grounding
know.
practice? Yeah, because
Yes.
this is a community care space, so we sometimes need some ideas. Some people need to hear from somebody else. Like, I didn't even think about that. Let me try that, right? So that's how we learn as well. So let us know. What are you
Let us
grounding? What are you
know. And
grounding into?
yes, make sure if you haven't yet that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share. Share this healing, share this love, and we will see you next time.
On the flip side, we getting into that next element of
Yes.
fire, baby. Fire.
Yes.
I can't wait. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.